coming up now that I'm not going, now that I've crawled out of my depression cave. But we had this conversation where it's like, sometimes I think as women, especially from a young age, it can be almost, I don't want to say intimidating, but you're not encouraged to like necessarily be great at math or like understand it. There's a huge, and we know this, there's a huge deficit of women in science, technology, in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. It's because we're almost trained to just leave that to the men. Men will figure it out, right? And like the more I was like, well, you know what? Like I'm starting to think math is really simple and I should just embrace it and get into it. Like, and then I was like, holy shit, math is really simple. Men are just idiots. And now I understand actually, and this is just my personal opinion. I believe most of MAGA cannot do math. They have no idea. And again, I want to say, I'm not talking, some can, but like if you give them a data set and say, hey, can you tell it what story is this? They would never be able to like figure that out. And so instead of just admitting that, because that's how I was about math, I was almost hostile. Like, I don't want to admit I'm intimidated by this, right? And that's how I think MAGA men are. They don't know. They don't know. And they've been trained because of Trump's constant disinformation in the media to just say, oh, it's just a manipulation. It's all lies. It's not, right? And here's my point of why I think everyone, once you just get into it, and that's what I'm saying. We had this long conversation in the Discord where it's like, yeah, I was so intimidated like by statistics and math. I even took statistics in college and I was still like, yeah, I feel intimidated by it. Or like when I would debate, I'd be like, sometimes I don't know if I should speak to it, but just look into it. Because then when people tell you something and your instinct, and this is for MAGA men, I know you won't do any of it, but your instinct is to say, well, that's all a lie. You're just manipulating, like my Uber driver who's like, I just think people can make numbers say anything. I was like, maybe with polling, but, but data sets, legitimate data sets tell a story, right? And that's the truth, an accurate story. Now, if a dishonest person is in charge of that data set, maybe it becomes a little skewed. But the reality is, I just encourage everyone, Logica 1 monkey, my degree is in mathematics. I played volleyball in college and one of my teammates was a math major. I remember sophomore year, she was like taking something called discrete structures. Yeah. If you're a math major, F you, it's not that easy for all of us, but the world must be super fascinating. But I'm saying no longer MAGA men. MAGA men figured out, but to women, don't be, I know it's been like, I think it's like a cultural thing where we're just supposed to be in a support role to men. Oops, puzzle piece, give me 1 second. Where we're supposed to be in a support role to men. Unable to verify. Hold on, my puzzle is not working. Uh-oh. I did it. Okay, sorry. I have no idea. I thought my live was going to end, but I got it on the third try. But I just want to encourage everyone. It's come to my attention because I was a history major. Like I stayed largely away from math. And the more I get into it now, it's super easy. And here's the best part. AI can do the hard work. You don't, I'm not asking anyone to get into algebra, but just know that when you hear something, like I think it's becoming important for us all to be able to look at data and understand it because, we're being robbed. And if you're being robbed, it's important to be able to, fact check it.
Say they're going badly. This is clearly driven in large part by the economy, which is by far and away the most important issue for Americans. 47% say economy, cost of living, top issue. 26% say state of democracy. 10% say immigration. 7% crime and safety. And so what does that mean in terms of Trump's policies affecting the U.S. economy? Well, 61% of Americans say they've worsened the American economy. Only 27% say Trump's policies have improved the economy. John.
That 61% is a tough number for Republicans facing election tomorrow, and certainly for the president as he tries to improve his position heading into the midterms next.
The approval rating right now, John, sits at 30.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I want to get into. Oh, I thought this was a great video because Ben Meiselas takes complex information and kind of makes it easier to grasp. He made this clip yesterday, and I was like, oh, I have to show them this. This is brilliant.
Donald Trump is having a disastrous Monday morning. This may be one of the worst days of his entire term, of both terms, in fact. He was just hit with catastrophic polling from CNN 24 hours before the critical November 4th elections, where Prop 50 in California to do a mid-decade redistricting there is on the ballot, where you have critical governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey are on the ballot there. Donald Trump just got this data from CNN. His disapproval rating right now is 63%. That's worse than either term based on the CNN polling. In other words, his polling right now is worse than it was when he left office following the January 6th insurrection. And it's not just the CNN.
Just grasp that. Like, people hate him more now than when he did a failed coup, which failed coups are his thing, which we'll get into Venezuela, right? Like, nobody, I mean, if you've listened to me, you know, but a lot of people don't know. MAGA certainly doesn't know. Trump tried to do a coup in Venezuela in his first term, at the end of his first term. It was a failed one. Obviously, Maduro's still there. He didn't accomplish it. Then he tried to do a coup on J6. Did not work. Failed. Then he tried to help, right? This is why he's now leveraging using tariffs to threaten and leverage Brazil, is because he encouraged his creepy friend Bolsonaro to do a coup, and they put it down. And they not only put it down, like, people are going to jail, like, they got more accountability in Brazil than we ever did. And, you know, what's his name? Oh my God. Lula da Silva, who's amazing. He's like a leftist who spent like years in prison, got out and is now the president. And Trump's trying to leverage Brazil because he's mad about his friend Bolsonaro, who's like in exile in Disney World. Literally, I think he's like hiding out in Orlando somewhere. And Trump loves a failed coup. And now he's like trying to do it, you know, he's like, oh, now I'm going to do the real thing. Like, embarrassing.
Poll. It's catastrophic polling across the board, across all demographics, across every single issue he's underwater in. Again, the TIP poll, the YouGov poll, the Economist poll. Donald Trump is indeed a historic president. He is the most historically unpopular president at this time in history. And all the Trump sycophants are trying to make.
Can I just point something out? Because you know me and my very good memory. Does it, like, in 2022, is it 2022? 2023 is probably more accurate. When Trump, well, actually, no, maybe it was late 2022. Because remember, Trump started campaigning for running for president like 4 years before he had to, right? So he was like ramping up his presidential run like 18 years before he needed to. And I looked at the list of professors, and I have this in an outline. I have the article, but basically the most prolific and famous historical like minds in the country like weighed in on who was the worst president in history. And Trump was voted number one, and he went insane over this. And they had all these logical reasons. You know what I mean? These are people, these with doctorates who are published over and over and over, just being like, this man is garbage. And Trump was like, no, I'm amazing. And I just think it's very ironic that this is what they said. And now mathematically, Americans have confirmed it, right? Like, he was like, these are what his excuse was, or like, this is why we have to do away with universities, which is one of the tenets of fascism, right? Like, nobody can be smarter than creepy, dumb, dear leader. So we've got to get intelligent minds and people who can analyze data out of the picture, right? Like, the first people to go are the non-idiots. And he's like, this is why we got to get rid of people whose brains work, because they keep accurately identifying that I'm dumb. And now the country has accurately identified that he's awful, that he is actually, at this pace, the worst president in history. And just to be clear, the second worst president in history is Donald Trump in his first term. So apparently those people whose brains work accurately identified a problem. Hey, Chris, I miss you so much. Text me later. We need to hang out.
Make sense of it. Cat Turd, a MAGA Republican influencer, is like, these polls are all fake, it's all fake. And again, 37% of Americans approve, 63% disapprove. Then when it comes to the generic ballot, if the midterms were held tomorrow, based on the CNN poll, who would the American people want to control Congress? By a margin of 47 to 42%, the American people want Democrats to control Congress. Also, let's take a look at YouGov, as Owen Winter says, in our polling with YouGov, since the start of his second term, Trump's net approval has fallen 17 points among white Americans, 28 points among Hispanic Americans, and 38 points among black Americans. So he's net negative 74 amongst black Americans, net negative 37 among Hispanic Americans, and net negative 1 now amongst white Americans. So he's underwater.
Net negative 37 amongst Hispanic Americans. And I was looking up, because you know how Trump says, black people love me, Hispanic people love me, like I got the largest percentage of the, he just constantly tells lies. That's not true. I was looking up because I couldn't remember. I think I don't want to say it because I can't remember the numbers, but yeah, it's just like basically I would say with the black vote, it was super small, and he doubled the super small percentage in the last election, which is still very much under 50% or anywhere near it. And then with Hispanics, can you imagine? And that's why I'm so interested in today. This is the warning shot. He redistricted Texas, right? Without voting, which we're going to get into Prop 50 and Trump. Oh my God. And Trump is out of his mind today on Truth Social. So just notice Prop 50 is what? A Democratic vote for residents of California. I think it was Seabass who said he voted. Hi, Fish Bastion. Miss you. Voted yes on Prop 50 because that's what democracy is. You don't just make a dictatorial decision from the White House, which is missing a couple walls now, and it's an absolute shit show there. And then call up the governor of Texas and be like, hey, I decided that you're going to gerrymander the Texas maps and create more seats for me, right? Democracy is, hey, we're going to put this on the ballot. You all can see what's happening. And if you guys want to help us fight this and redistrict California, and then we will reevaluate and return it to norm, again with our nonpartisan redistricting commission after, we'll do that. That's actual democracy. So it's super ironic to listen to Trump be like, this Prop 50 is fascism. No, fascism was when you just redistricted Texas. But the beauty is, and why I'm so interested in today's elections and what we'll see going on, is just understand the population growth in Texas has, in terms of what you can see, has largely been Hispanics. So they went off who voted for them in the presidential election, which was a lot of Hispanics. The population growth has been Hispanic. And then you started a psychotic terror campaign against all Hispanic people. So it's going to be very interesting. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I haven't seen you guys in a month. So understand that. Texas is redistricting. The largest population growth, and almost only that it makes any difference, has been Hispanic people. And they redistricted based on Hispanics that voted for Trump. So I don't even know if they have a chance anymore. I think if you're Hispanic and you're like, I love living in terror, I can't wait to be pulled out of my car at any moment and beaten. That's literally, I shouldn't even do this right now, but I'll just get into it. Speaking of which, Kristi Noem was saying that they've never, I think her exact words are, we've never detained an American citizen. I'll get into that later. I believe 170 is the count, 170. And I'm talking about people were trapped in prison for months and were given no resources and no access to lawyers. That's how many American citizens who had too much melanin have been detained. Yeah, these are things that can be tracked. So for Trump and Kristi Noem to say they've never detained American citizens is delusional. But this is in Chicago. So there was ICE was terrorizing people down the street. There was a protest going on to try to stop them. The ICE officers tried to speed away, hit a woman who's driving her car, who's an American citizen. And this is what they did to her. I don't even know what to say. And this is a story in the Chicago Tribune, if you want to look it up.
Yeah! Hit and run! Hit and run! That's a hit and run! Hit and run! Hit and run! That's a hit and run! Hit and run! Hit and run! Yeah. Look, hey, watch out with that weapon! That weapon! Yo, watch out! What's wrong with you? You hit it! You hit her! Yo! What's wrong?
You hit her!
You hit her! You guys hit her! You guys hit her! What's wrong with y'all?
Y'all hit her?
Y'all bust a whole U-turn in the middle of the street. Y'all hit her. Y'all on camera. Leave her alone. She ain't even do shit. She trying to go to work. She trying to go to work.
What the fuck?
No, what? Y'all some crazy. Y'all got no heart, for real. No heart. No heart.
Stop! Get off!
Crazy.
Get off!
She's a female.
Get off of her right now!
You guys hit her. How you guys gonna arrest her?
Get off!
You guys hit her. Man, how y'all gonna arrest her, Brad? Y'all bogus as fuck.
Get off her! What's your name?
You hit her. You guys hit her. You guys hit her. Whole lawsuit right there.
Believe that. I'm telling you. Don't get your issue. Keep fucking around in Chicago.
There are 3 men assaulting this woman who they hit with their car and nearly killed. There are 3 men assaulting her while a man with an AR and a mask on stands. We couldn't wear masks to save the 1.3 million people that were unalived in COVID. Does anyone notice that? I love the excuse of you all wanted us to wear masks during COVID. Yeah, that's because of science. We were trying to help you and your family stay alive. I wish we never asked any of you to wear masks. And now they're well, now we're wearing masks. Yeah, it's not a pandemic. Now you're wearing masks to terrorize American citizens and non-American citizens. Nobody deserves to be terrorized unlawfully. They T-boned her car, almost unalived her, then dragged her out of the car and continued terrorizing her while people were screaming for them to stop. And I think it was Tootle, I'm sorry if I got it wrong, who was I'm so sickened by these daily videos. And that's the truth. If you are one of the last times I debated, I remember this guy's they never did this to Americans. They just didn't prove it. And I just had happened to have my daily video, because I was so a guy named Angel who they just beat within an inch of his life. If you are not smart enough to know that this is absolutely happening to American citizens, that's not our fault. You just are an idiot and don't know what's going on. This is absolutely happening every single day to American citizens. But also, it's happening to people who are here with green cards, people who are here with asylum claims. All of these people are legally in America. Legally. And are being terrorized and disappeared. Anyways.
Fucking around in Chicago. Hey, baby girl, you good? Don't worry about it.
Stop resisting.
Don't worry about it. We need that information, bro.
Ah, bogus as fuck.
That looks like the Loop in Chicago too. That's not even a bad neighborhood. Like that is crazy. Like and she's, and again, I just want to point out that I believe, and this is an article in the Chicago Tribune. She is suing, and just keep in mind, every one of these wrongful termination lawsuits, every one of these, hey, we're being terrorized by masked men. Who pay? Do you understand who pays those? Us, our tax dollars. We're paying taxes federally in April, federal or state-wise in April. Every time we have to buy something, we pay a tax so that billionaires don't have to pay taxes. And then as well, just understand that every single part of this is a cost. We pay this. Trump's not paying for this. We pay. Our tax dollars pay for random U.S. citizens to be terrorized. Hey, Nikki, I missed you so much. It's so good to see you guys. If you would like to support me, this is what I do for a job. Tip me. Become a super fan. I would love to have more super fans. Okay, hold on. I need to read some things. Jen, missed you so much. Love and support. Thank you for the 15. Love and support you. I missed everyone. Oh, I need to make sure I'm not missing. Kayla in the super chat. We missed you. Sorry, I didn't have the right window open. Steph, God, I miss you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Great to see you again and hope you are well. You know, I have seen live streams that have super chats on TikTok. Like they're obviously demoing it. I don't know. I wish I had access to those because that super chats are the best because then you can just read them all out. But sorry, I digress. Jennifer. Oh yeah, I forgot. Chinga la migra. That's a bad word about ice. You're so funny. Jennifer, thank you so much for all your support. I'm telling you, last week that message you sent me, I was like, I need to get it together, not just for myself but for others. And that is what my therapist says I need to stop doing. I need to be okay for myself, not for others. But I will say I am a little damaged, so it's a lot easier for me to be like, get it together for the people you care about rather than like being a healthy person for yourself. I'm working on it. Oh, I could spend hours just showing you examples of disgusting, but Andy Ogles is one of my, if you're in Tennessee, I'm sure you know how gross this man is. This man, every time there's a school pew-pewing, and there's been a lot in Tennessee, you know, he's like, thoughts and chairs, like, don't care. This is the guy whose Christmas card is his little children holding ARs. And him and his wife, like, he gross. This is what he posted today, and I wish I was kidding. This is a photo of Mamdami's home country, Uganda. This is what New York will look like after he destroyed it. Deport him now. He's a citizen. What do you mean deport him? You can't deport citizens. Well, I mean, who knows? Is that maybe we, you know what I mean? I at once would say that with confidence. I actually don't know anymore. Like, and we'll get into it, you know, like they're using facial recognition software and other like terrifying algorithmic tools against Antifa and anyone they suspect is in this country illegally now. Like things that you could never imagine happening are now happening. So I used to be pretty confident you could not deport or disappear a U.S. citizen who's done nothing wrong. But you know what? Pegasus and Paragon. Thank you, D. Smartest chat in the world. I never have to know anything because, or like I can just obscurely say something and then like everyone in the chat just is like fills in the details. Like I'm like the least smart person here. Like that's what I love. I'm like, oh sorry, I forgot. I'm skipping around. I gotta go find my next place. Okay, I have so many horrible things to show, so actually I'm just going to show this now so we can all this is a Navy veteran who this was just posted. I just can't stand this stuff. This is a Navy veteran who's just talking about his, he fought for America. He's obviously very old. And what has become of America now?
I'm not the only one. 20 years in the Navy. I never saw a CC today. I fought for freedom. For somebody like Trump to come and take it away. I'm not a good speaker. I fought for freedom. You see it taken away like this. Hopefully it won't be, but there's a chance. I just can't get over it. I'm not the only one to spend days, months, minutes fighting for what we believe in, to keep this country free and clear. To have somebody like Trump to come in and do what he's doing, and the support he's getting, I just can't get over it.
Can you imagine, thank you so much for the gifts. Keep tapping the screen. Can we get to 200K as fast as possible? Tap, tap, tap. Leah, I love you so, so much. I missed your brilliant, beautiful brain, and I missed you, and yours. You're amazing. Literally. It's my brain works in patterns. So it's every time I log on, I look for you, which is pretty creepy, but don't be creeped out. It's just because you're so supportive. But can you imagine being a person who fought, I'm just guessing, it must be either Korea or World War II. Maybe not old enough for World War II, maybe Korea. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Imagine that level of violence, that level of horror, thinking, okay, I'm fighting against fascism. And then watching Trump walk in and just tear down democracy. I cannot imagine the pain that you must experience. I think Korea. Vietnam vets are a little younger. I don't know, though. We don't know, actually. And maybe he just aged badly. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe it is Vietnam. Don't listen to me. Maybe it's Korea and Vietnam. I'm just saying, he looks a little... my mother, who's a malignant narcissist and still looks amazing for her age, but she's, in her 70s. So, and I'm thinking, she was born... in 40, I should not even be talking about. My mom would kill me for saying this. She's born in 47. She looks like she's 59, but she's still, so I'm thinking about my mom, and there's no way my mom could have been in World War II. So that's what I'm saying. It probably is Korea or Nam. Yeah, probably Korea or Nam. Yeah, but imagine, though, the horrors. I was just talking about, I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking about World War I and the horrors of, the tunnels in World War I and, the mental health issues and how they had to change the rules of engagement and how no one was ever the same. And you're going through, and those tunnels, right, they changed the rules of engagement in World War I, but that basically ended up happening again in Vietnam in those same tunnels, right? And horrible gases were used, all these things, which, oh yeah, great segue, because I remember someone was Dick Cheney died. That's why I don't like to talk about Dick Cheney. Who's the guy? Oh man, oh my God, Henry Kissinger, which when you hear his name, if I have a degree in history, if you don't understand in general in America, you hear the name Henry Kissinger and you're oh yeah, he's a hero, right? Or I'm not sure who he is, but he was someone who did a lot for America, right? He was in the government. Henry Kissinger was basically barely allowed to leave the United States. I think there were over 70 something countries he could not travel to because he was going to be snatched up for crimes against humanity, right? This is the man who poured the chemicals on people, and Uncle is 95, fought in the Korean War. Okay, thank you for that. So maybe it is Nam. sorry. I do like to speculate and understand age ranges. And I don't know how old this man is. Like, for all we know, he's like 69. Like, so yeah, he probably did fight in Nam. But my point, what I'm trying to explain is like, actually Nam and where Vietnam was, and it violated so many rules of engagement, and like so many tactics of war were used that were, I know it's Vietnam. I just said that word. I can't stand when people don't think I have a degree in history. I understand words and countries. I once won a geography contest where I literally named every country and its capital in the world. So yeah, I can say words. Thank you. Anyways, so Nam was like, what they tried to do was change the way war happened because of what happened in those tunnels. And I mean, it was more than just that, but with mustard gas and the types of knives that would gut people, you know, and then they could, in World War I. And then a lot of that ended up being repeated in the tunnels in Vietnam. And I spent a lot of time, like one of the things I became not fascinated by, but I feel like you need to bear witness to things. Like I had a professor who was kind of knew a lot about that. So it was like, someone, you know, I need to learn about this. Like people need to understand. I mean, what happened in Vietnam is so horrific. Like there are no words to describe the horrors of that war, which still people like Henry Kissinger are like, it's not a war, it's a conflict, right? Like, and that's why Henry Kissinger like couldn't go anywhere, because he was literally wanted in almost 100 countries for crimes against humanity. Not unlike what is happening now to like Netanyahu. But Dick Cheney, if you understand who Dick Cheney was, who is, yes, Liz Cheney's daddy, he's right up there. Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, these are war criminals who are responsible for atrocities. And that's why, and I didn't record it, and I actually think I have it somewhere recorded in my phone, but in, I believe, like 2021 or 2022, Dick Cheney filmed a video, you know, when Trump started, like, terrorizing Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney's, I mean, and I'm just talking about her beliefs, you know, like, she doesn't, you know, she's the most Republican. She just was like, hey, I don't think we should do a coup. And then Trump started, you know, attacking her for not being down with like grifting and a coup. Liz Cheney is fine with at least her dad was. Dick Cheney is not a nice man. So, you know, he came out with a video and basically said Donald Trump is the biggest threat to democracy, like, that I've ever seen. And I'm just saying that to say it's similar with how I feel about, oh my gosh, you guys will remember. Sorry, who's the guy that just got charged with crimes, who Trump took his security clearance and raided his home? What's his name? John. What's the guy's name? The guy with the white handlebar mustache. Bolton, thank you. John Bolton. I always like to draw these because, like, I'm trying to say Dick Cheney has done unspeakable, horrific things. And been okay with it. Like, it's like, I remember when him and Donald Rumsfeld, you know, they got called out for like the torture in Abu Ghraib, and they were like, yeah, I stand for 8 hours a day. I don't think we did anything that wrong. Like, these people are nuts and have no sense of right and wrong. And they were like, Donald Trump is insane. So, and it's the same with John Bolton was known for the same things. They're like, this man's insane. He's a sociopath, like he loves violence and torture. And then John Bolton's like, oh no, I can't work with Trump, he's actually crazy. So I have mixed feelings about Dick Cheney, because have done a lot of research into like kind of who he was and what he did. But that's what should scare us all about Donald Trump, is all of these people who are like, yeah, there's no level, like, I don't value brown people's lives, like, whatever we have to do, let's do it to enrich ourselves and American corporations. And then they're like, oh no, I guess I do have a line. Like, and that line is Trump. Yeah, it's like, so just take that with a grain of salt. And this man has lived, you know, a long time and seen a lot, and it's heartbreaking to watch these veterans just be like, I guess this is what it is now. This is like our hellscape. Like, can you imagine? And as someone who's been diagnosed with PTSD, I can't imagine, right? Like, you're dealing with all these mental health issues because of your willingness to defend America, or you were drafted against your will only to watch America devolve into this. I can't imagine what that must feel like and how sad, like disheartening it must be. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this. Give me 1 second, because I am going to play this clip. Oh yeah, is this it? Nope. Let me go a little further down. Sorry, I'm trying to find these clips. Oh yeah, here they are. Sorry, I get excited because like I love this side of Hakeem Jeffries. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I was reading the comments on Fox where they posted this clip like underneath, and like, or maybe it wasn't, I can't remember. It was some right-wing account on X, and I was like, oh my God. And so Hakeem Jeffries said this stuff yesterday, and then I'll show you what he said today, which we need more of this. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Wait. Oh God, please don't tell me there's a problem. Sorry, give me one. Oh, I know it's wrong. I moved it. There we go.
On a personal note, how does it feel to work with so many grown adults who have been obstructing the release of these Epstein files and, in fact, protecting pedophiles?
Well, the Trump administration and Mike Johnson are running a pedophile protection program. That's what they've been doing. And that's the reason why they refused to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva. For weeks now. She was elected in late September decisively. And Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva still hasn't been sworn in because she'll become the 218th vote on an up or down piece of legislation that will require the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files. And yet week after week after week have gone by, and Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva is unable to serve 800,000 plus people in the state of Arizona, all because of the pedophile protection program being run by Mike Johnson and House Republicans at the direction of their boss, Donald J. Trump.
On a personal note, how does it feel?
I think, yeah, there's one more clip. Okay, this is the second clip. Again, this was like yesterday, like afternoon.
Unstopped from where you are right now?
That's a question that needs to be asked of our Republican colleagues. They've been on the wrong side of Republican sentiment for weeks now. And they could care less. You know why? Because all Republicans care about is the opinion of one man, the puppet master of the Republican Party, Donald J. Trump. They don't care about anything else. How else can you explain the fact that they are weaponizing hunger? How else can one explain the fact that they refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and they're hurting their own constituents? The 5 states most impacted by the failure to extend the Affordable Care Act are all led by Republicans. West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Republicans could care less. How else can you explain the fact that Republicans have canceled votes now for 6 consecutive weeks? Missing in action, taxpayer-funded vacation. Running the pedophile protection program while doing nothing to make life better for the American people. It's all because Donald Trump hasn't given them the order to sit down and actually reopen the government and negotiate a bipartisan path forward. What's Donald Trump been doing this weekend? He was on the golf course, spitting in the face of the American people with his inaction and his indifference.
And throwing a Great Gatsby party, literally the night that Americans, millions of Americans are going to starve and not be able to buy groceries. He is having a giant Great Gatsby party, which I have many clips of, literally, for billionaires. Okay. Oh my God, we've got one. Troy Silver, Canada. You're from Canada, and you're this. Like, Is that why you're dumb? Democrats can open the government tomorrow. You're not understanding. Let me help you, Troy Silver. I know because you're a man, you're thinking, oh, a woman is speaking, so she must have a tiny brain. So I'm going to write dumb things, and she's not going to correct me. Let me help you. Our government has been shut down. Since January 2025, our government has been shut down, other than for grifters. Our government has been shut down. So don't worry about if our government's functioning. Our government is not functioning other than for grifters to steal from us. That's the reality. This is our only option. This is our one chance for leverages. I own 6 businesses in the USA, then you... Okay, wow. Let me help you, Troy. Then you're an idiot. And you can't do math. Because if you own 6 businesses in the USA, which I'll describe it to you this way. If someone suddenly just burst into my house in a home invasion, held a pew-pew to my head and said, guess if Troy owns 6 businesses in the USA. Just guess yes or no. And if you're wrong, you die. My guess is no, Troy, because let me help you. Do you understand? We have to focus today on elections, Troy, which you own 6 businesses. But you know what happens on Wednesday? I'm guessing you don't know. Republicans, Trump supporters, people that voted for Trump are going to have a lawsuit that's going to be heard by the Supreme Court. Do you know why? That's the irony. It's not Democrats that are upset about tariffs. It's the capitalists. It's Republicans like yourself. You claim to own 6 businesses, then you should be upset about being financially devastated by Trump's illegal tax policy. But that's how I know you don't own any businesses and you're an idiot. Anyways, I was going to get to this, but just know what we'll talk about. Oral arguments are happening on Wednesday. This lawsuit, it's not brought by Democrats. It's brought by conservatives whose businesses have been harmed by Trump's tariff policy. And now I have to listen to Troy, a man. And Troy, I'm going to help you with this because I don't have time. I will just block you. You're an insecure weirdo who's making up stories. I don't have time. I'm not going to debate you. I'm not going to let you distract the chat from understanding facts and information. I will just block you. Nobody cares. You need attention. Just scroll to the next live and try to get it there. Nobody cares. But again, and it is very ironic to me that the only lawsuit the Supreme Court agreed to hear is from conservatives who are upset because their businesses are tanking because of Donald Trump. That's what's happening on Wednesday. And if you've noticed Trump, and I'll show you that's a good segue. Let's get into it real quick. Let me show you. Trump's been having a million meltdowns on Truth Social, but he's very upset. Trump said basically if tariffs, actually, I don't even think I have it in, that's the latest grouping of Trump's meltdowns, hold on, let me find the tariff one real quick. I know I have it somewhere. Here, it's probably one of these. Oh my God, these are so crazy. Sorry, that's the Seth Meyers one. Anyways, Trump posted something basically saying, and this is in the 60 Minutes interview, which they only played 28 minutes of, but it's 70 plus minutes long. I've read the transcript. This is one of the things he said. If tariffs go away, his ability to be president goes away. That's because Trump's a grifter who's using tariffs to grift, right? He's leveraging countries to get contracts for hotels and other things. That's the reality. Hold on. I need to look at my actual numbered outline because I have a great video on this that I want to play. I just can't remember who made it. Tariffs. Where is my tariff video? Here, hold on. I'm just gonna go to the end of this. I know it's one of these. I was like, oh, I definitely need to play this. I just need to give me a second. I'm almost there. I know the general area, but I've made way too many clips to remember exactly where things are. Sorry, it's too much research to remember it all. Oh, we're close. I can feel it. I think it's this one. Oh, I did it. God, it's so, my memory is so good. It's terrifying. Oh, and by the way, I love this man, and someone can just tell me, because I don't want to call it out and not remember. What state is Representative Jason Crow from? He's absolutely brilliant. Love that man. The brain is firing on all cylinders. Colorado, okay. Listen, this is a great example, and I could give you a million more examples of how tariffs are a grift, but
part of the problem with the tariffs is that Donald Trump is largely using tariffs. I'm glad you raised that, because he's actually largely using tariffs to enrich himself and his family. Right? They are using the threat of tariffs to strike golf course deals around the world. They're using the threat of tariffs or tariffs to put pressure on Brazil, because they did something to one of his allies and friends that they didn't like. He's actually now threatening the Colombian president in Colombia with tariffs, because the Colombian president tweeted something that he didn't like. Donald Trump is personalizing American power and our economic system for his personal benefit and the enrichment of his family, which, by the way, while Americans suffer and kids go hungry, he's building a $300 million gold-plated ballroom. He's found money for $170 million of new private jets for Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security. He's found money for all sorts of things that are important to him and his family, and he has enriched himself by several billion dollars this year alone through his meme coins, through his digital currency that he's issuing, that foreign leaders and foreign investors are investing in without any oversight whatsoever. That is what's happening in America today.
$2 billion. And if you haven't, by the way, which actually I'm going to, guys know how I feel. If you don't know who Mark Elias is Trump, a thorn in Trump's side, the bane of his existence. Mark Elias started with a very large, famous law firm called Perkins Coie. They basically challenged Trump pro bono and did a lot of legal work that buried Trump. Then Mark Elias left Perkins Coie. My brother also started at Perkins Coie. Left Perkins Coie, then created the Mark Elias law firm. He now handles all of the voting rights cases for the Democratic Party, and let's just say wins the vast majority of them. Mark Elias is a brilliant lawyer, and I think I can find it without having to look at my other outline. But I just want to bring up the corruption in that 60 Minutes interview. Here we go. Found it. Scares me. I can remember of 300 clips where everything is. Something's wrong with my brain.
This CBS interview of Donald Trump was a classic example of obeying in advance. I don't believe that anyone sat around CBS and said, Norah O'Donnell, I need you to really, pull your punches on Donald Trump. The fact is, though, everyone who works at CBS knows what the Ellisons, the new owners, want. Everyone knows what Barry Weiss, the new editor-in-chief, who had the free press that she started, purchased reportedly for $150 million. Everybody knows what their preference was. And everybody knows that if at the end of that interview, if at the end of Donald Trump's sit-down, he started posting on social media hate towards CBS News and Norah O'Donnell, there'd be hell to pay. And so they didn't have to be told anything. They didn't even have to purposely do anything. They just knew what the plan was. They knew what the direction was. They knew that they needed to obey in advance. And it's a perfectly human emotion, but it is one that we need to recognize, because CBS News started this journey by paying $16 million to settle a nonsensical, bogus lawsuit so that it could get a merger done. Now it wants to buy Warner Brothers and get another merger done. So there's that. Now you have Barry Weiss there, and there's that. And now you have the Ellisons who want to buy TikTok, and there's that. This CBS interview of
I can't remember the idiot, Troy, the idiot that challenged me and doesn't understand markets, capitalistic markets. Let me help you. CBS, owned by Paramount, right? They were trying to approve a giant merger. And that is why they settled their lawsuit with Trump. If you're like, what the F are you talking about? CBS owns 60 Minutes. Trump made up a completely bogus claim that was a lie, saying Kamala Harris got more airtime than me. Presidential candidates are supposed to get the same amount of airtime. Trump had just been dragged in a debate by her and didn't want to show up and refused to show up. Then the lawsuit, because I actually read it, said that they unnecessarily, which I'm so glad we're going over this because we can really get into this, said that they were editing the interview with Kamala Harris to make her look better, right? Which was a complete effing lie, right? It was pretty immaterial because they released the full transcript the same day the interview came out. And it's just, they just didn't have time to air anything. It's not like she was saying, defaming people, slandering people, lying, grifting, that's not what happened. Now, fast forward to, but anyways, wait, hold on. Let me just finish it in case anyone doesn't know. So CBS, in anticipation of, and their parent company owned by billionaires and billionaire shareholders, in anticipation of the merger they were trying to get done, they wanted to appease Trump, so they settled the lawsuit. They didn't want, even though that was an easy lawsuit to win. They just were like, okay, he as president and the guy who controls the psycho now running the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, he can make this a lot harder for us. So let's just settle now. And this is cheaper, right? Same thing that happened with parent company Disney and ABC, right? George Stephanopoulos said something completely factually correct. They settled a lawsuit because they're like, hey, it's just billionaires who are like, let's just not create a problem because, this is a president who's vindictive and can create larger problems down the road. So fast forward to this 60 Minutes lawsuit. Actually, before I get into that, I actually have I have a really good clip that will explain it more, just in case anyone does not know what happened. So, a lot of things happened. They aired 28 minutes. The interview was 70 plus minutes long. And the transcript has, because people were like, journalists were like, this is unethical. And this is exactly, Trump had no case. This is actually a case of people covering up Trump's lies and slander and libel, whatever. So they released the transcript, which I'll go over that in a second, but I want to show this. Jake Tapper did one thing right. I can't stand Jake Tapper, but he actually, so one of the most contested moments, which I think I have the clip too, along with the Jake Tapper clip. I'm pretty sure I can't stand recording Trump, but I'll just show one clip from the 60 Minutes interview that came out on Sunday. This is Trump, which we know, right? There's proof in FBI files and things. Trump has a pay for pardon system going, or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, I could go into how many people have paid for pardons, but I think we've gone over that. And actually, I don't know if I should say this now. Well, I'll say it now and again when this is brought up. There are attorneys that oversee presidential pardons, right? Liz Oyer, Oyer, she quit. She resigned because Trump was trying to force her to approve pardons that were unethical, right? And she has done several interviews about this. Again, her name is Liz Oyer, Oyer. Yeah, follow her. She makes amazing content all about Trump's delusional corruption. So Trump had the nerve, after suing CBS over nothing, and they just settled because their merger should be illegal because of antitrust laws, and they wanted this corrupt guy to approve it. They just settled a fake lawsuit that had no case. He had the nerve to then go on and just claim, hey, the guy that just paid me $2 billion, literally set up my crypto grift and then paid me $2 billion, and then I pardoned him in full, for a crime everybody involved pled guilty to. Well, I don't know who he is. And if you're like, what? First of all, yeah, Trump is a senile loser and a liar. That's what I would purport. I think it's a little bit of both. But number one problem I have is, okay, so every single congressional hearing, it costs millions of dollars to subpoena people and these investigations and pay for them. And James Comer, right, this didn't stick, but one of their first tries when they were trying to distract from Trump being all over the Epstein files and being an effing creeper, was, what about Biden's pardons? He signed them with AutoPen. AutoPen is an invention of Thomas Jefferson. I just want to be clear because I actually can read and I'm not an idiot like Troy. You don't even have to sign presidential pardons. No one has to sign them. That's the truth. You just don't. So it's stupid to say that, but their argument over using AutoPen, which Trump uses AutoPen, I just want to be clear, he signed all the J6 pardons with AutoPen. So I was actually hoping we were just going to overturn everyone's pardon so that the J6ers could go back to prison. But the point I am making is that was the argument, is that Biden is senile. He has no idea what's going on and people are just operating for him. And then Trump just said, the head of Binance, his name is Changpeng Zhao, but they call him CZ, which I like that name because that is the capital Z is like the symbol for cubic zirconia, fake diamonds, which I think is pretty apropos for this man. Like, he absolutely admitted to every crime he committed and then got pardoned after giving Trump $2 billion crypto investment. And senile Trump has no idea who he is. Now, I don't believe that, but I do believe Trump's a senile idiot. Trump is more senile and more idiotic. And I'm saying this not like, hey, I have a lot of feelings. Like MAGA is always like, my name's Troy from Canada. I have 6 businesses and I'm here to tell you my feelings that cannot be backed up by math. These aren't feelings, right? Trump has done mathematical damage to Americans, right? The transfers of wealth inequality has grown under Trump's 2 terms exponentially. And then he has the nerve to do this.
This year, the president has pardoned or shortened the sentences of more than 1,600 people. The latest pardon was for a cryptocurrency tycoon who is known as CZ. The company CZ founded, Binance, helped boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws. Right. The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Just want to be clear, what Binance does and what they pled guilty to was essentially like money laundering for the worst people, right? Like, MAGA Americans are always like, they're terrorists. Okay, so you have a problem with Mexican cartels? Well, they're laundering money for them. You have a problem with brown people in the Middle East that you call every brown person is H group or, whoever. That this is what Binance pled guilty to, is essentially setting up one of the largest money laundering schemes worldwide for T groups.
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you...
World Liberty Financial is Trump's company. I just want to be clear.
Address
and just to be clear, because people like Troy who pretend to own 6 businesses in America don't understand and can't read. I've read every court document about every crime. Just understand, like in Trump's first term, if you, and you can all look this up, look at Trump's quotes about crypto. He's like, the only thing, he's a very old man who didn't understand crypto. And he's like, the only thing that matters is the US dollar. Like, we need it to hold its value. That's because he has stocks and things, and he's just like, crypto's dumb. And what he tried to do, he tried to receive bribes in his first term. How? Through his hotels, right? But it was very easy for journalists to track those expenditures, or just who was in the lobby of hotels, right? Like, what are the Saudis doing in the lobby of Trump's hotel? Bribing him by paying 18 million X times the value of these hotel rooms. Like, that was a very easily traceable way to be bribed, right? He needed a better bribe system and money laundering system. And then, obviously, in his off time, he met crypto. And they're like, oh, this is untraceable. And once you're president, you can make it all legal. And that's why he's doing this now.
Appearance of pay for play.
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But he got a part of it. But he got a part.
No, I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. They're running a business. They're not in government.
That's what he said. And I want to see who said that. Love Dog said Lawrence O'Donnell would be a much better interviewer. I just want you to know that's the reason I showed the